or just heard that they are going into surgery?
Melanie, we've heard no more word from inside the hospital. What we were told when the two patients arrived here is that both were in relatively serious condition. We saw both of them go into the emergency center behind me, both on stretchers. Both appeared to be conscious, and that's what paramedics told us, that both of them were conscious. They had both suffered multiple gunshot wounds. One of them had his right leg bandaged from just above his knee to just below his waist. The other completely wrapped up in a blanket, which would match pretty close to the information that Katie McCall was being given about the two victims that students up there at Lone Star had told her. We were told from the people who brought those patients here that they both were picked up outside the building and that they both would require surgery pretty soon after they got here. But the hospital has released no information, and we don't expect them to release a whole lot, given the fact that these may be students up at Lone Star. We have not seen any indication of ages or whether they were students or staff. And the other thing that we have not seen here as of yet is any family members or friends of these victims arrive with any more information about who they were or their condition. But that's what we know from here at the Bentob Emergency Center. Two patients brought here, both in ambulances, both relatively quickly from the scene. One of them with a wound on his leg, the other, as I say, entirely under a blanket, both wheeled in, both requiring surgery.
And you did hear, at least from hospital officials, they were not expecting any more patients. Is that correct?
It's a good point, Melanie. We did hear, yes, they said there was still activity going on as far as medical activity going on up at the campus, but they did not expect any more serious patients to be brought here to Bentob.
All right, and that's always a good sign to know that at least to the extent that there is a need for a trauma center, that there are not more victims coming there. Ted Oberg, thanks so much. If you find out more information, if you will get right back to us, we would appreciate that. And you're continuing to look at video that we shot shortly after arriving on the scene here. You see one of those victims that Ted referred to being wheeled out on a gurney there by paramedics and loaded onto an ambulance. As we heard from Ted, one of them was fairly alert, still conscious by the time he got to the hospital. The other did not appear to be as responsive, but both suffering from multiple gunshot wounds as a result of this. Again, some conflicting information as to whether or not there is more than one suspect in this case. We've heard a number of different theories. One of the students said she'd heard there was an argument on campus. Another student said something similar, that perhaps there may have even been an argument between a student and some faculty member, but we don't know any of that. We have to hasten to say that these, again, are all just theories and rumors that are being spread at this point. But what we do know is that the shooting did take place in the vicinity of the library and the cafeteria. And here you are seeing officers leading a number of people down some stairs and out of the building. Most of the campus has been evacuated, as we understand it. We'd heard in the very beginning there was a shelter in place. Students were told to just stay wherever you are until they were able to ascertain the situation. And then shortly thereafter, we saw a number of students being led out by a law enforcement officer.